Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to work on a short project here. We're going to do two things. We're going to do a little bit of diagnosis and we're going to do a little bit of repair to show you how to go fix a situation that's fairly common. If you're buying a reel off of eBay or you're buying a reel at a flea market or something like that, sometimes you'll find that this condition exists. So the first thing we're going to do is a little bit of problem diagnosis. This reel is about stuck. And if you back the bearing out, you sometimes can get this reel to turn, but it turns very hard. And just looking at this reel, I've kind of come up with the condition already, but just to emphasize this and show you what the condition is, we have a bent frame, and that's a fairly common issue on the Penn reels that have these crossbars as opposed to the solid bars that came with the later Jigmasters. It's a condition. It's called frame twist, and when these reels get into tough situations, whether it's fighting fish bigger than it was designed for, or if it's in a situation maybe it's snagged up or something, and you try to power it, these are the weak points in the reel, and something gives and something usually goes bad with that. So I will show you how to identify that, and we'll talk about correcting that. But before we do, I want to thank our first responders and essential personnel, all of the EMTs, the hospital workers, everybody in the medical fields, the ambulance drivers. Just had a contact from Dave, an ambulance driver, the EMTs, first line, first responders, our local hometown heroes that are providing food and the like. Thank you for all it is that you do. Well, here's how you can tell that you're not square on your frame. We've got a gap down here that's pretty substantial if you're looking underneath. Not only do we not have a gap, but we almost have the inverse gap at the top. That means that this frame is not sitting square, but rather is sitting canted. So this side plate is actually going this way. These two are going this way. That creates the gap at the bottom and the tightness at the top, and that spool will not spin in that condition. Well, if you go below, it's kind of easy to see what's happening here. This should be a level reel seat, and as you can see, there's a big gap. It's kind of hard to do this. There's a big gap right here on both sides. And what that means is that this whole reel seat bent, and that's it's pushed the one side out and canted the side plates. So there's a chance that we can replace the reel seat and bring this back into square, or better yet, replace the reel seat and discard these bars for the solid bars, and that will do it. You don't want to toss this reel. This reel is a made in the USA reel. It's one of the better ones. It's got the hard metal or the chromed spool. It's got a beautiful design to it. It deserves to have a second chance, but you're going to have to replace some parts. In this case, the reel seat is one of those, and hopefully this spool is still in round. Well, let's go back up here. This is a problem that you see an awful lot of on a reel. I don't know exactly how it starts, but I know how it finishes, because as you can tell, you've got a button here which normally rests on the shoulder of the side plate here, and when somebody loses this somehow, I have a little wrench here, we can take this out. Somehow when you go to replace this, it's common to not understand how to set this. And if you were to line this up with the other side, well, you can't get it on because that shoulder is under the is onto the side plate there. It doesn't work. So in a lot of frustration or just not understanding, people put them on upside down. Yes, it will still work, but it's not the way it's supposed to go. Well, how do you do that? Well, it's fairly easy, and we'll just take a moment to show you. What you want to do on this one, you want to find the tipping point, usually right around there, where it will hold without flopping left or right. And when you find that tipping point, just let it rest to make sure that's the way and where it belongs. Flip your lever like that, and then reinstall the screw. Now you have to be a little bit careful. You might push this eccentric through, and we'll take a moment and we'll show you the inside of this. But if you can do it that way, then you're going to limit the throw here. And you can go ahead and tighten the nut down. And now you have a properly operating free spool lever. So if you find a reel like that at a garage sale or yard sale, at a flea market, or anywhere else, somebody give you the reel and it's got this reversed for some unknown reason, maybe they had the reel apart, whatever it was, they didn't necessarily understand that you can set it to a medium where it will stick, flip the lever around and get that stud over to the sidewall where it belongs. This handle is also loose, so my guess is that somebody probably had this reel apart, didn't have the tool to tighten that nut down, did the best they could either by hand or pliers or whatever. There does look like there's a few scrapes here, so maybe they were using pliers. Whatever it is, when they went to tighten it down, well, they didn't tighten that nut all the way, and that's why you have the play on this. Left to its worst, you're going to have a problem with that handle over time. That handle sits on a gear sleeve that has two flat sides. If you let that handle just spin, eventually this is going to all round out here because there's nothing holding that handle steady there. And it starts at the top with the wobble and it works its way down, and eventually these shoulders disappear, and then the handle just turns in a circle and can't grab the sleeve, and that becomes very much a different problem. So let's just take this off. I just want to see what's going on underneath here, in addition to the fact that we know that we have a bad frame. You can even tell on this without going much further. Look at the gap in the frame here. So this has gotten pushed out somehow, whatever that is. But you can see, I have some paper here maybe even. Huh? You can get the paper right through that frame. That shouldn't be. That should be tight, right? And on this side it's tight. So we have a frame that is out of round. That's the cause of the issue there. But if I look on this side, it's a beautiful example of what the reel should look like inside. This reel is probably 30 years old, maybe 25, 30 years old. It's got the red side plates on it, and it looks like it came out of the factory yesterday. It's very clean. There's no indication of abuse. These gears look new, and my guess, if I was a guessing person, is that the spool got trapped. Something happened to push that frame out of round, and or out of square, and when that happened, the reel just got seated somewhere for want of a repair. So this is the other side of the free lever that we were working on. You can see as you move that lever, it's going to pull this up. When you pull that up, the spool is going to go, or the pinion gear is going to go back in, and it's going to detach from the shoulder on the spool here. This shoulder on the spool fits inside that groove on the pinion gear. So when you move the pinion gear out, it disengages from that shoulder, and when that shoulder is pulled out, then this can spin freely, unless you have a frame that's out of round. It can spin freely, and then when you go engage, when you put it back on, you'll notice that this pinion gear moves forward, and that shoulder will sit in this slot here. The main shaft will go through, and that will drive the spool when you turn this with that fully embedded. So that's kind of how that works. So if you have that issue with the bad free spool lever where this is pointing outward, don't give up on the reel. Know that if you just find the solid trip point there where it's not going to go forward or backwards, find that trip point and then just flip it around and put it in its proper position from an orientation standpoint. You'll do fine. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it. If you do like seeing more of these, please subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you'll see all the ones that I post. I try to post frequently, and you'll get to choose which ones you want to watch because I work on all kinds of reels: saltwater, freshwater, bait casting, spinning, conventional reels, trolling reels, big game reels. Work on them all, and you may find some that interest you, and I would encourage you to watch those. And if you find some that you don't see or you're not interested in learning about, that's okay too. So with that, I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to wish everybody a great day, and please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.